One.
Okay, we'd like to welcome everybody to the 2025 Templeton Community Preservation Committee Needs Analysis Meeting. This is an annual meeting to be held to hear from the citizenry, the board, whomever, about their projected needs that would perhaps be of interest to the town for Community Preservation Act funding. Those four categories, as most everyone knows, but to be reminded to the audience, are community housing, open space, recreation, and historic preservation. So we have our regular meeting scheduled for 7. This period is for an open discussion. We welcome any and all comments. We will monitor if anybody sends one in on the Zoom thing, or whatever the heck you call it, YouTube. But seeing we do not have a huge audience here of citizens, we can first start by opening it up to the board to see if there are some projected needs you'd like to discuss this meeting or throughout the year. Should we start with you, George? Did you have anything you would like to raise?
No, not really.
Okay, Dennis?
Nothing specific at the moment, no.
Okay, I would like to say that, you know, we do need to be cognizant of the fact that we do have a broad mission, and we need to make sure that we address things across the categories. And I'm hopeful because of that we will be able to do something, and we've talked about this most recent meetings, in the area of open space. So we'll see about that. Mike?
We have the phase 1 of the Elm Street emergency management building moving forward, ever so slowly, but moving forward. So with that being said, we'll probably start looking at the second section of the emergency management building in 2025.
Great, yeah, so the old Baldwinville Fire Station is a historic building, and it houses the Templeton Emergency Management people, and so there has been some funding to do an evaluation of the property that was done, and then it was moved to a second appropriation, which is to develop what would be the engineering design and proofs that would help guide us towards a larger scale project with larger dollar projections. Anything else on the historic end? I know you've also discussed in prior meetings, perhaps a need to better understand the town property boundaries.
Yes, but that hasn't been, I haven't been charted with bringing that forward yet.
Okay. But you as a citizen could express interest in it. I'm interested in it.
Yes.
But we'll see where that goes and flows. Gary, did you have anything you'd like to?
Yeah, I was approached by a town resident in my capacity on the Agriculture Commission, and she's going to attend our February meeting, but she's interested in developing a plan or a proposal for a community garden, and we haven't forgive the expression, gotten into the weeds yet about, you know, what that is, whether that's, you know, for citizens, whether that's for the food pantry. I don't really know the details quite yet, but I think Candace and I had kind of talked about how that seems to fit in almost in a recreation capacity, something different than, you know, ball fields. It could be, or parks, it could be, you know, community garden could be considered a form of recreation. So I'm hopeful that for our February meeting, you know, I'll have more details as far as, you know, what this person had in mind and what steps we need to take. I know I have been approached by someone about the beds at the senior center are in bad repair. So, you know, I don't know if that's a spot that she has in mind, or I know Candace and I were kind of talking about whether even town hall, you know, the big land, you know, by the parking lot, if that's a suitable place. So I'm hoping to have more information about that at our next meeting.
Great, and one thing we will want to do is kind of review the guidelines to see, to make sure it would fit within the categories of the
Mhm.
different allowed, and to find other examples of other communities that what they have done as kind of an indicator of what we might be able to do. Not that we would have to mimic what others do, but it's also always helpful to see what others have successfully done. And so that's a good point to bring up, is that we are members of the Community Preservation Coalition, which is just a Massachusetts organization of communities that have are members of the community preservation, have accepted the Community Preservation Act as 177 towns of the 351 in the Commonwealth. And virtually all of them are members of this. We pay a small annual dues, and they provide resources and guidance, and they have the entire catalog of descriptions of all projects that have been funded across the state. So it's a good document. It's communitypreservation.org. And in there, you can look and see what any town has done, but you can also see what has been done in each category for those that are looking to try to see, well, what could we do in Templeton, to brainstorm. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. Candace, did you have some things? Obviously, we have some issues to discuss during the regular meeting,
Yeah.
but in general.
Well, with the garden thing, we were also approached by people, because you can do some programs and things, especially gardening, has a lot of, educational properties to it, as well as recreational, as a whole as a community. So we've had a couple of people come forward to us over the last year or two, so. But our all boards meeting, it came up about the senior center basement, using it for recreational needs, and I didn't know if that's something that they can pursue funds because because it's a building, because it's enclosed? Okay.
Yeah, because it's an indoor thing.
It's an indoor enclosed thing. Okay, I wasn't sure about that. And then, we were working on, me and Selectman Griffiths, with, Graceland, and I don't think this will affect, CPC, was the trail system, and looking into that trail grant. Because there's a need for, that kind of, recreational thing. We were looking at signage possibly on the trails. Like you are here, you can go from here to here, or ones that you see that, like it's a quiz or it's a educational thing. You ever see those on the trails they have nowadays? Those kiosks that they put out there. It can tell you what, like a tree, a leaf, or it could be a scavenger hunt or whatever. We were looking into that. We were trying to get other members of the community to step forward to see what their needs were in the trails, especially the ones that utilize all the trail systems out there, to see if there was anything they wanted to team up, or they wanted to do the grant instead, if they thought it was more, they could, so we were reaching out to various people and we're talking to various, the Massachusetts organizations, that, own a lot of the property back there. Yeah, other than that, I just have the things that I have. I don't think anybody else has talked to me about anything else lately.
Well, thank you. And one thing to note is, so if there is a grant opportunity, trails are something that's within our community preservation plan, trails within the different precincts. And if there is a grant opportunity that requires a local match, that could be where the CPA could provide a local match
Okay,
component of a larger scale grant. The way these grants often work, you don't need to necessarily have those matching funds secured prior to application. It always helps in the evaluation, but the award would be contingent upon, the match as well being received, but it doesn't always have to be before. I
right.
just wanted to bring that out.
Yeah, I don't remember Graceland saying it was the match grant. Like I said, I know I brought it up like last year around this time too, about possibly doing some kind of trail thing, that we were looking into it, but we've gotten more progressive towards it, but, we were waiting for some feedback from other, like the snowmobiles, that use it out there, and the state uses it out, so different things out there, to get some feedback from them. Selectman Griffiths was waiting for, and, Graceland was waiting for.
Okay, so thank you very much. I think this would be a good, yes,
I know.
as another citizen, we neglected you. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's okay. I was just gonna add to Carrie and Candace's thought about the community garden. Do you guys consider maybe fruit trees, not just a garden?
Oh,
do
that'd be
apple
cool.
trees or
I-
pear trees or.
I did
or
find other towns that have used CPC funds for community gardens and even to drill a well, which
Yeah.
I thought was cool, and pollinator habitat. And so there's and it looks like it's under the category of open space, I think, if that's what the green means.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, so I would say fruit trees and perennials are certainly
Yeah.
would be eligible for that type of a space, and there's a lot to be, yes, Dennis.
Being that we have some of Narragansett regional or school system people in the audience, maybe they'd like to express whether they have any interest in community gardens and involving the school system in that.
yeah, I mean, there's so many aspects to it.
I just talk, I mean.
Does the microphone pick him up, if he's back there?
If he speaks up, yes.
I will speak up.
Okay, thank you.
So we definitely do have and have talked about these type of projects within the, in the school. We have a great area that was a greenhouse that couldn't be used for a lot of reasons, and it had to come down. But we were just made aware of a pretty sizable, not only grant, but an opportunity. And I want to make sure today, actually. And it was, I'm trying to get the right name of it, the Farm to Table program, but Farm to Table Coordinator. But it's for schools, and
Yeah, it's a USDA program.
and so we've just been, they've contacted us now twice, is what I'm saying. And so we're trying to figure out what that would mean. But in hearing what you were talking about at the all boards meeting about someone looking to start a public garden or
Yeah,
something
I'm
to that
not
effect.
sure whether if her focus is towards the food pantry or
Yeah.
if it's for community members to be able to have a plot.
Yeah,
and
because
those
we
are
have a
sort of
really
two
good
different ways.
area but we're not there all year, meaning that the staff aren't there. But we're trying to work it out, and we're actually planning to call you maybe next week, because we're trying to figure out exactly what does this all mean with this, farm to table position. And I don't know how that would fit in to the bigger plan, but we were just talking about that this afternoon when we were reviewing some of these emails. So maybe, hopefully, we might be able to, I don't know,
Something
together. I think
Yeah.
it would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's certainly something that perhaps this board could be involved with, certainly the ag committee, and Carrie's a special person because she has a lot of USDA experience. So she would be a good resource if she's available to consult with on that. I don't want to volunteer you.
Yeah. Thanks, Don. Like the first time. But another town used CPC money to actually do a plan of what to do, which seems like a really good idea.
Oh, so for like if they were to get the money for a grant to do a plan for it, or a plan for us, or a plan for anything,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a
Yeah,
good idea.
qualified plans, I mean, that is the desired way to go for any of these projects, is to have a plan before you start the project.
Yeah,
Huh.
We've tried to stick to that over the last several years. It hasn't always been that way, but we're learning as we go. So that is also a good recommendation, is to seek planning grants and whatnot. So you can also, the other thing that we have as a board need to be aware of is that we have so many projects going on at once. Juggling all the balls, Jessica's supporting us through admin, Bob, Zozik through, DPW, et cetera. And then the finance people with the payments, and it's a lot on a small town like ours. So, we've got a lot, we working to close grants out, but we're always going to be entertaining new ones and moving those to, they all have their own timelines as well. So, since you folks are here, and we will discuss your application at this regular meeting, but in the context of the needs analysis, it would probably be a good time for you guys to kind of lay out the needs for ball fields, et cetera, at Narragansett that you're looking for funding for, perhaps through the CPA, and then we don't have to rehash that at 7. So Is that okay with you? Would you guys be
Great,
willing to
however you'd like to.
come up and just kind of lay out the background of what you've been trying to do, what you'd like to do, where you see it as a need? Is that appropriate to the board?
Standing.
Okay, thank you.
So obviously the answer guy is right here to my right, Ramon. Well, this really all started when oddly enough, when the MIAA closed our track. They said that we could no longer have any, and I'll get to where I'm going, but that's how it really started when they said you can't have any more meets on the track because it was deemed
Deteriorating.
just dangerous for kids, quite frankly. So we went out, got, quotes and figured out everything, and no one would touch that track first until the middle of the field. The field that's in the middle was fixed because you work your way in. So with all that, because that's where practices used to happen, and this is how we end up where we are today. So most of the football, it'd be track practices, and everything would happen on that field because that could never be used. Yeah, the lower field that was in the track. So we looked to the left of the baseball field, the existing baseball field, and that land needed to be reclaimed. It was cleared at one point. There were designs to put ball fields there at some point, but it was an older leach field that had to kind of go through its process to even be considered. But it was just really abandoned. The ideas were abandoned. So we took that up over the last, say, year and some change, using rural aid funds to clear it and to level it to a certain extent as best as we could with the folks that we have to do two things. One, we need a place for folks to practice. All right, the kids to practice, because again, going back to the whole fact is that field, we have taken a loan out and we have fixed the field in the middle of the track. That will be go ahead, right?
I was just
Yeah.
gonna say, I mean, I was not to let him talk, but I was kind of flowed through that whole process. Yeah, basically, when we had two different companies, track companies come in, they didn't know each other. They knew each other, but they didn't know they reached it. They both said the same thing. We can rebuild the track, not until that center of that field gets rebuilt. The crown was so bad from when it was originally constructed. So we did go to bid 2 years ago to have that center field reconstructed. It was reconstructed. We're gonna have a heck of a soccer and field hockey field down there this fall. It's seeded, it's growing. They'll be playing on it this fall. But because of that, football team which practiced down there had to start using the left field of the baseball field, which absolutely got killed. And we knew that was gonna happen. Basically what's gonna happen, what we're looking to do now is, Chris and I started talking about this a couple of years ago. I said, we had that 4.5 acres of land adjacent to the baseball field that belonged to the school. It was formerly leach fields. They've been abandoned back in the early 80s. The school went on town septic. We had planning board out, we had conservation come out, everybody looked at it, said, you can do what you want on that, and you can, I said, ideally, we'd like to put in practice fields and a softball field. So we got the lower field by the wind tower, wind turbine has been completed. We beat the heck out of the baseball field this fall with football practice, and we have got we had the land completely cleared. Well, some of you came out and viewed it. Completely trees removed, stumped. We had one of the local excavating companies come in and did a beautiful job on probably 60% of it is all grubbed out and leveled. We've already contracted with him to do the rest of it this spring, so the whole thing is going to be leveled. And what we're hoping to do is complete and put in a practice facility for football down there and soccer and whoever else wants to use it. Additional town field, basically, and I think Rec's done a great job in what they're doing up at Gilman. They've done a fantastic job. A lot of kids in town, a lot of need for practice fields. So our hopes are to build a little more practice field up there, and finally get the girls after 60 years softball play at home. That's where this all kind of came out to, a little bit of trying to build a little equity in the school. The boys, every team plays at home except for the girls softball. They're varsity, and they have a beautiful field at Gilman, but we try to bring them home. So that's kind of where we're at.
The easy part would have been just to make that entire, area just a practice field. But, again, it really does, from our perspective, is an equity issue, is that, our girls softball team cannot play, it just can't play on at Narragansett. And that's come up a few times, but it is what it is, and we know that. We also know that, given the schedule from the MIAA, and this happened a couple times, but once you make the state tournament, they just determine when you're playing. And I know that, and thankfully and thanks to Candace and her crew, we were able to switch some things up, because sometimes the team is coming out from the Cape and they said, look, your game's going to start at 5:30. Well, there's a rec, softball game going on, but now we've got to have a varsity home game. We see this is going to probably happen more because, quite frankly, we have a very good softball team. But we know that there's a lot of need for that game field. And, we see this to be a benefit for everybody. Our middle school is still going to need to, find places to practice. Another part of this is that it's getting very expensive to transport kids down to practice. I don't think a lot of folks know that we use the afternoon buses in order to get especially the youngest kids down to Gilman to practice. That's a cost transportation. We don't want kids hopping in cars and going down. We talked about this before. So when looking at all of this, we think it benefits the greater good for the community, that's why, of course, we've put forward this proposal.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Everybody had something, George?
And that's why I asked you that question at the all board meeting. That used to be the septic system out in that area.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, all that land that they haven't been able to use. And when they went to town sewer went by, well, that field got left.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, and nothing was ever done with it, and they were told they couldn't put it down there 20 some odd years ago
Sure.
because it wasn't the right type of
Nature's
material.
today, and now it's ready to go. So that's a mood issue now. Let's move on. So George, it's accepted that that's the location. We have only a brief time for this meeting. We'll have a chance to
Yeah.
revisit that because
Yeah.
this meeting ends at 7.
Yep.
So we've got 8 minutes to go. So we wanted to just get this summary in
That's
play.
fine.
We also wanted to check with TCTV to see if there are any questions or comments from the
Not as of.
thousands of people online. Okay. I'm sorry to cut you short on that, but we have to be aware of back-to-back meetings like that. So now we see the background of that. The other thing that we wanted to add is that we have had preliminary discussions with Phillips's Community Preservation Committee. They're kind of, I don't know if you've had any direct contact with them.
I got the application in and I did get a response back that they said they were meeting on the 13th.
Of
and that they
January,
would-
yeah.
Yeah, and that they would contact us back as to when to come over for further questions.
Oh, great. So do they have their own specific application?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, okay, because they didn't loop us in on that, so that's
No, they
glad to
did,
hear.
and I filled it out, they've got it, and they got it in time and all that stuff.
Oh, good, because they had a December 31st deadline, whereas we will not be voting our projects until our February meeting. So today is just another opportunity for us to discuss as we hone it down. We've got quite a few on the docket. So thank you for sharing that with us, because of course, and then after you're speaking at the all boards meeting, it's always been historically an 80-20 population base, but now it sounds like it might be going 85-15 or something to that degree. And I don't know how that ever factors into anything, but the fact that it is a regional school district, I know there will be some, discussion about that.
Yeah.
Does that formula change with every year
Not every year, not often, but we'll have to check the income, we'll have to check the October 1, but it might be, it's around 80-20 if, give or
which is
take.
kind of what
Yeah.
it generally has been, and because you've got a budget for the next year. and
Exactly.
All of a
exactly.
sudden, if it changes dramatically, then you might.
But I can get you the exact breakdown for that.
I don't, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that being said, did anything else you guys have on the pike that you might see as a need for the school that could be community preservation? One thing that I also would like to share, and I don't know, we have a project in Templeton at the Dwelly Farm, through the North County Land Trust. And they've had students from Cushing Academy come out and do some, weed pulling and things like that. And I don't know if the high school has any kind of a horticulture or environmental program. There may be opportunity. We did have funds in that grant to support outreach, to community as an educational component. And I know planning and scheduling and approving and all this stuff.
We have trails too, and then we did talk to a botanist about identifying, significant minor plant populations and trying to label them and make kind of an educational walk through.
So part of their project funds could be used, for example, if you had a class that needed transportation to come up there, or if they needed some, I think, we had even talked about, there could even be, some food provided or something like that. So within the school system, that was part of and I know they have a good I speak to Carrie because she's the
I'm on the
person
board of directors for North County Land Trust.
in the relationship with Cushing is
Yeah, they come up, and then we also have the day of service every year where different groups will come up and either pull invasives or pull trash or whatever, or clear the trails. One year we finished the bridge going across one of the wetland areas.
So if there is anything, and you talk to your faculty, your administrators, that this could fit within their curricular plans for.
We have an outdoor adventure group that's an extracurricular that one of our teachers has run for the last 7 years. So I would think that would certainly fit on our end in terms of the.
Yeah, and so we would be happy to come out and speak to
Sure,
your team. And, I know everybody's already well planned out until every last snow day in June, but next year's another year. So, and it's ongoing. So I just thought I would share
That's
that.
great. That's fantastic.
Okay, and so does anybody else have anything they would like to share, bring up for the needs analysis?
No.
All right, with that being said, we'll close the needs analysis meeting. With a motion.
Make a motion, we close the needs analysis meeting.
I'll
Second.
second it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, we'll now take a recess till 7 PM. Which is what, 3 minutes?
Rolling. He's,
I gotta watch Penn State.
yep, he's ready.
Take a signal when we're live and I'm. Okay, we would like to open up the January meeting 2025 of the Templeton Community Preservation Committee. We will first open with a discussion from our administrator.
I just have to add to record that although Mr. Dixon was absent at the last meeting, he did review a transcript, which was the TCTV video recording, and he has submitted a Mullen Rule certification. So he is able to vote on any continued topics this evening from last meeting. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Jessica, and thank you, Mike, for catching up so quickly. Excuse me. So, in your packet, you will have a copy of the minutes from our December 12th meeting. Most everybody has had a chance to review this. This is the meeting that we first started talking about some of the potential projects for this coming year. I've had a chance to look at the minutes and found them acceptable. We can give people a little more time, or we can entertain motions.
I'll make a motion that after everybody has a chance to review it, that we accept the minutes as written.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay, and would anybody else like a little longer to review?
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay, hearing none, we'll do a polling vote, starting with George.
Yes.
Dennis,
Yes.
I'll vote yes.
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 Carrie and.
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. The minutes are approved. And you want to give an admin update?
I absolutely did. Yep. All right, so Baptist Common Cemetery project is proceeding with the additional fencing that you voted on at the last meeting. And they are coming out on Monday to put that in.
Just on that,
Yeah.
and they, so it's been scoped out where they're gonna put the fence, and we're not gonna need a representative there because
No.
you've explained to them to
I
where.
gave the DPW director the survey that you all paid for. And I said, as long as it's on town property and not on somebody's grave, I think I'm good.
Thank you.
Okay, so next in your packet, can you find, I gave you guys a quote. This was the Hale Custom Signs quote for the town hall cupola. But here, if you guys want to kind of share a little bit, that that's the mock-up that they used to quote. It's a small bronze plaque that would go outside, screwed into the brick of the building, and then the awards, looking plaque that would go inside the building. The total of that is $595.44. Not a lot, considering that has $8,000 left in it.
Okay, so we've got plenty of money left, and that will allow us to close out the account for the cupola, I believe.
Need a vote? I'll make a motion.
The motion to approve both signs for
So
the,
moved.
and seconded.
Who motioned and seconded?
Candace motioned and Mike seconded.
Thank you.
She'd already gotten it.
Thank you.
Okay, so $595.44. Any discussion?
Seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this will be nice, and I agree with that putting something in the hall is nice for people that are, lingering about, looking
Yeah.
for something to look at. So we'll do a vote, and we'll start with Candace this time.
Yes.
Yes.
Gary, yes.
Yes.
Mike, yes. John, yes. Dennis.
I just have one quick question. The final balance that we owe is 140.
Well, they're just telling us that they were gonna want a deposit to commit.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're
Okay.
committing to the $600.
All right. Yeah, I agree with it.
And George,
Yes.
okay, that is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
then that'll be nice. And then we will, next month, hopefully it'll be done and we can close that account with a small balance to be returned through the appropriate.
Lastly, I posted the legal ad for the needs analysis meeting, and I'm looking for a motion to pay the ad out of the admin budget. It came to $168.32.
Okay, $168.32 for the Garden News ads. Do you have a motion to approve
Yes.
and seconded?
Yes.
Thank you.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, very good.
Thank
Yes,
you.
that's a natural requirement. All right, so moving on. Anything else you want
No,
to
I'm
add?
good. Thank you. I
All right.
provided you with the financial report, which includes the project accounts and the unspent funds are in your buckets. So that is truly there and available for spending.
Yeah, so as we go forward to our next town meeting, we will obviously need to be working with the assessor to get the estimate for what we would project for the revenues for next year.
Mhm.
And come up with a formula-based match. We'll look for guidance from, the matching funds that are provided to the community preservation. Funding is through a trust fund that is administered by the Department of Revenue. And who calculates the disbursement. And there is a base level. In the past, sometimes the legislature has put surplus monies into it to ensure a higher match. As I noted earlier, or in the earlier meeting, there's over half the cities and towns in Massachusetts are participating in this, so it has strong political representation in Boston. Boston is also a part of it, so all their legislators, whatever. The funds are derived from transfer fees through the Registry of Deeds and have seen as more communities are withdrawing from there and as the number of transactions go down, that trust fund is reduced. So there is a variable match. Every community gets the base match. Communities that are levied at the 3% or maximum level are eligible for additional funding rounds based upon the size and the wealth of the community. That's why historically we have often received a 100% match. Last year was 72%. So it had gone down. And in our estimation, we had estimated 78%. So our estimates were a little bit off.
Mhm.
Of course, the fund is also includes new growth that gets taxed within the year and things like that. So it's like any budget, you do your best projection. So we will need to come up with the estimated match for next year. And you can go to communitypreservation.org and link to the DOR page that shows how much money is in the trust fund. So and that's what they regularly monitor to see, crystal ball at what is the match going to be. That match is then the assessor submits a report on what has been billed after abatement, and that is the base level that the town has, and then the percentages applied to that, and then distributed to the town November 15th. So that's part of our FY 26 revenue.
Mr.
And-
Chair, I also read on the website that more towns are accepting the CPA and so
Yes.
that there are less funds to go around,
Mhm.
which is also a contributing factor.
Yeah. Yes, so luckily we, this year, I believe 7 or 8 towns received 100%, the fact that we didn't means that, it's like Royalston and other boondock towns. So anyway, that article will come forward and last year we estimated the revenue, the billings to the town was around 225,000. And so we'll get an estimate from the assessor or a figure from the number. And the reason I'm bringing all this up is that we will have an article at the town meeting for roughly $400,000 for next year. That's not reflected in the finances that we have here.
Yeah.
So the finances that we have here in front of you, we have those that are allocated to the projects are already committed funds. Some of those could be returned if they're not spent.
Yeah,
Or-
true.
Like, for example, the cupola we came in under budget, so some of the money will come back, some of the Grange Hall money
Already came back. Yep.
has come back.
Yep.
And we will likely talk about Stonebridge projects.
Yep.
And that will require taking it to town meeting to undo that grant if it's so decided. So we'll talk about that later.
Why do we have to go to town meeting when we didn't go to town meeting for the $17,000 money that we put back?
For which project are you referring?
I don't remember, whatever the project
So when a
was.
project has been completed and under budget, then the project is over. But if a project has not really been initiated, but
Oh,
it's being.
Was it the housing? It was never
Yeah,
used.
the
It
Affordable
was
Housing Fund.
Was it ever
we
used?
voted at a meeting to close it and it went back. But
Was it ever used? I don't even know what it was, what the original was, if it was.
Well, aside from that, regardless, the advice is to formally go back to town meeting just so everybody's on the same page, whether it's required or not. And so we'll talk about that later.
Mhm.
That process would return monies back if that's the case. So right now for the community housing balance, we have 67,000 plus. For the historic resources, we have 56,000 plus. For open space, we have 71,000, and for our undesignated balance is 436,000. And then we have our administrative budget still has $16,000 remaining in it. So anything related to recreation can be funded out of the open space bucket and the undesignated reserve. So the sum of those two accounts is just over $500,000. The undesignated could be categorized, could be used for any of the four categories: community housing, historic resources, open space, and recreation. Recreation is a subset, if you will, of open space. And so the open space designated reserve can be used for recreation because it's outdoor recreation. Okay, so that's what we have available presently. We get monthly payments through the tax collector. And of course, so in February, we'll see another bump because, you know, the taxes are due in February. So really they trickle in, but every quarter is the bigger hits. And so any questions or comments on the finances that we have in front of us?
Well, I do. The Scout Hall Stone Bridge thing got fixed. If you guys look at that lines, 3 and 4, that got fixed.
Yeah,
On
as
the
you
last-
remember
Yep.
they were transposed last
Yep.
month, and then
So that got fixed.
it was just a scrivener's error or whatever you call it.
Yep.
But
And then the Grange Hall bathrooms are zeroed. And then the, one of the Baldwinville schools ones is zeroed.
yes, and the reason for that is the town has transferred the funds for the building permit.
Yep.
Because all the excess cost upon the town to do all the inspections, et cetera, for the Baldwinville School project, Baldwinville Elementary, whatever we call that project.
Yep.
And has the transfer of property formally happened?
I don't know.
Okay, so we've been advised by council that it was okay to move
Correct.
forward with that, and that's why that account was zero. We have multiple accounts for that because there have been 2 separate articles, and it is a big
Yeah,
ticket
there's
item.
3 accounts left.
Any other questions or comments on the finances?
No. Oh, was I supposed to say about the tennis court and the signage for Gilman Waite? Is
Well,
that
we'll
time?
talk about that under.
I didn't know we were supposed to do it.
Current project.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna move on to potential. I'd like to move the agenda, flip-flop the agenda of what we had posted with the next speak of current projects. But then followed by potential projects. I would just like to come up with the potential projects first. Is that okay with the board?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, no dissent. Very good. So we have some projects that have been coming in, one of which first on the list is the Narragansett Regional School District softball field. We've gotten some great information from Mr. Moulton and Casavant from the school.
So
And
that should be in your
so,
packet as the yellow one. I did print that all for you.
okay. So we have an application for a project to build
Yellow.
girls softball field and practice fields at Narragansett. There's been a lot of work done by the school on estimating of costs. And would you guys like to provide us with a summary of where we are today and specifically, the bottom line request, et cetera?
Well, currently, to this point in the project, as we mentioned earlier, we have had the lands cleared, 60% level. And the funds that we have, we've used our funds for that so far. So far, we've expended about $111,000 to $150,000 to to level, stump, remove the tree. And that money also includes what we're gonna be paying this spring to have the rest of the area grubbed out and leveled. What we were looking at for in CPA funds, we have estimates for irrigation, ball field construction, I mean, actual company that builds ball fields. And overseeding and basically doing a completion of the project, fencing, backstops, dugouts. And the breakdown on that, I mean, came up to, as you can see, what we're looking for is roughly $271,890,000. For a total construction cost, and this is all estimates. I think I went high on most of the numbers because it's easier to come down than it is to go up. Roughly $383,340 for the whole project. And one of the applications requests, and I do have it, was if we had similar bids on similar projects, which we did 2 years ago, and discussing the field down inside the track, that we spent close to $500,000 having that totally materials removed, new materials brought in, laser graded. So total new irrigation system installed down there. So I wanted to throw that in, and I believe Jess has it. If not, I can email it to her. That we're doing about the same size project, and we're trying to, we've trimmed out a lot basically to try and get this done. A lot of money, I know, but we're also, trying to build a good facility down there too.
So you've indicated irrigation, the ball field construction, the overseeing, the fencing. How many separate bids do you expect? Do you expect to do a single bid, or is it like you do the irrigation, you do the?
But the irrigation it'll be a single bid. I mean, it'll be, I've already contacted 3 or 4 different companies that I dealt with for 30 or 40 years and told them what could be coming up as far as, installation. So they'll bid it.
So will the bid package include all the items, or will it be multiple bid packages?
It'll be a bid package for the irrigation and a package for the final construction of softball and the practice field.
You don't have like a general contractor handling all the aspects of it?
No,
You're the general contractor.
I was just gonna say Rick
Yeah.
will.
I did the lower field. I'm pretty sure. I can-
And so will the fields be like one bid would be the practice fields and the
Softball.
softball? So
Yeah.
it's really 2 bid packages?
Right,
Okay, that's all I was asking.
yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Forgive me. And you had indicated that the request to Phillipston, is there a dollar amount associated with that would
I
change the
gave
cost of
them, I
this?
gave them the same numbers of what we have, of what we're looking for. It's a similar form as to what this, so I put what we have invested so far. And what the total cost of the project.
The same numbers that we have here?
Yeah.
Okay, so just because if the committee was to go forward with the process is, we put together an article that has the dollar amount in there and the description. And if it's approved, then it goes to the select board to be put on the warrant. So if it's an 80-20, or if Phillipston comes back and says, absolutely not, we're not in a position to do it at this time for one reason or another. So if they're meeting January 13th,
Yes.
and that still gives us until our February meeting to kind of, I will reach out to Phillipston, through Jess, and maybe we can get face to face to see where they are with that, so that we would come forward with the number that we would need to discuss as a board
Right,
to vote.
right.
Mr. Henshaw, second to last page, how will maintenance be funded? It says initial year includes the purchase of a sports field mower.
Which has already
And
been
this-
ordered, and we're paying for it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I believe that we can't,
Prepay, yeah.
prepay
Well,
or
I'm
support.
sorry, it was just
Okay.
asked, when I filled that out and it said year 1 maintenance. And we've already ordered and we won't take delivery until May. It's a specific sports field mower that will handle all our sports fields up at Ganson.
But essentially what you're saying is that you've got the maintenance covered and it's
Oh, yeah,
coming from.
And
city.
then it's
No, no.
full budget line.
No,
item.
no,
I was
maintenance.
just making sure, because we can't,
No, that's,
Okay.
that's school
Okay.
budget. And
Okay.
the additional years is what we
Okay.
basically budget every year for maintaining the fields.
very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments or questions?
No. If.
Now
Wilson
that
doesn't
town meeting, I knew that came
move
from.
going ahead with this, where does that leave us?
Well, so if we just use the 80-20 as the breakdown, we'll do whatever monies we have, we're gonna do as much as we possibly can. And we'd probably start with the softball field and work our way to the practice
Yeah,
field.
our priority is to get the softball field done. And if we run out of funds for the practice field, rather than me hiring a company to come in and try and do it, I'll piecemeal it. I'll do it.
We'll figure it out one way or
Yeah.
another. You know, it's just one of the situations all the time with, request funds, you're prepared to do whatever you need to do with whatever the monies that you have. And so we've talked about those contingencies and, but we know how we would start, let's put it that way,
Yeah.
Where we would start with whatever funds, which would be the softball side.
Great, yeah, so we'll cross those bridges as they come along.
Well, how would you suggest, working with Phillipson? You said, mentioned a face-to-face would be committee to committee or would the administrator?
We'll see what they would like. I mean, I would be fine, just having just kind of getting the information back from them or seeing if they have any questions. Of course, this is, our initial contact was all just around Thanksgiving and then Thanksgiving, Christmas, et cetera, et cetera. We have not yet met with them. They're pulling it together and they have their meetings and their schedule. So I will make myself available to meet for as a discussion to report back to the board, or if they want me to attend their January 13th meeting, or I could attend it anyway, whatever. But we'll definitely want to be engaged with them or whatever. Do you have any recommendations?
No, I was just wondering how it works. I've never been through this.
Neither have we. I mean,
Okay.
I write in the application, I'm more than happy to have them come over and see the facility as you people came out, and saw what we're doing.
I wonder if a mutual meeting.
yeah, and we've talked back and forth about that. We just haven't finalized it. Like maybe even we could even have a joint meeting or whatever if it needs to be at some point if it's I don't even know how they're receiving it or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, they did mention they'd get back to us, so.
But essentially, one town is not dependent on the other for approval. They're independent votes. You can vote you can vote independently of them. You
Exactly,
can vote
yeah.
independently of you. Obviously, if we work together,
Right.
they're more supported.
You could do it that way, but I think a coordinated effort is.
Of course, I just mean that.
Yeah.
If they say yes, you don't have to. And if they say no, you don't have to. You can always
Right.
work
And
together with the
it's
best.
really, ultimately it'll be a town meeting vote and what we put
Right.
forward.
Right.
If it comes out of this committee to go on to the
Absolutely.
warrant, and it's all about the priorities of the town and
It has to pass their town meeting as well.
for their part, but
For
that
their part.
doesn't need to kill the project,
No.
or we could, do any number of different approaches, including, it's just because it's a regional school district and we know that, the sheer cost and the concern of citizens for, equity and expenditures.
We just want to thank honestly the board and all the offices that have come out just to answer some questions for us as we were going through this. We do appreciate the attention, because of course, we're committed to it and we know what its value is, but we also know that you have a lot, right? That you have to consider, but regardless, we do appreciate the time that you've given us with this application and just coming out and giving us some great advice along the way.
Great, we appreciate your efforts. And then, of course, if you did find other pockets of money, like if the state had funding and support through other programs,
We're going to talk to Representative Zlotnick. I'm sure like everyone else, everyone wants to talk to Representative Zlotnick. But we plan to get, to talk to him about this as well, because we have talked about this type of project with him in the past, so.
I do have a Powerball ticket.
yeah,
You should ask them about the track.
Well.
High ticket number, go high.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
good point.
And we
Yeah,
hear a lot
That's,
about the
they say
They might
that's,
know of a grant or something that you're not seeing anywhere online.
like
or
I say, that's what started this whole thing, was us trying to get the track done first,
Yeah.
and we had to do the field and.
well, thank you for coming
Thank you.
in. We'll be in touch. Okay, so the next item,
So,
yes.
before we move ahead, so what should we put for bullets on this discussion we just had? We're gonna coordinate with Phillipson, that's one, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to postpone further action until we do that?
That,
Well, so we basically have from now until our February meeting, which is
February 13th.
February 13th, to finalize the warrant articles.
Okay.
So barring that, we would then vote to see whether we're even gonna go forward with this to the town meeting. And so but the process between now and then is to come up with a figure. We know what the project is.
yeah,
And that's in the description or whatever. The $271,890, you know, if we're looking at an 80-20 split with Phillipston,
yeah.
you know, that would, let me just calculate that real quick, just.
54 them, 17,
How much?
217. Well, be about 54,000 for them and 217 for us, right? Or
Okay,
that's probably too high. No, that's about right. About 54,000 for them and
$217,512.
Yeah.
So that's the number we were looking at, for our, if it was an 80-20 split
All right, and then we would vote on
the article.
the article at the February meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that clear and good?
Just want to understand.
No, we don't want to leave any,
Don't want to have to go watch another video.
any other questions or comments on that last, piece before we move to the next?
Nope.
Okay, so next we have, there's 3 different requests that are coming in,
Four.
was it,
So
there's 3 different colors coming up for the,
there's 4.
there's 4 projects?
So I just want to clarify. So on your agenda, I reorganized and color coded the Parks and Recs. So you have your first 2, the green and the blue. Those are the Gilman Waite ones. And then the pink and the orange are the Houghton Park ones.
I'm sorry, I already checked off the green one.
That-
Gigantic one. My error.
So as of this morning, I received notification from somebody who works for Candace, Rachel? is her
Yeah,
name?
Rachel.
And they essentially, if it's appropriate to use this word, Candace, to withdraw the 4 and submit.
Well,
Two.
wait, tonight, we're not withdrawing anything tonight.
Okay.
What we did was, the board had asked that if we were going to do like the Houghton Park project, to
Yeah.
combine, to give the right, you know, because we had broad numbers and
Yes.
funds. So what Rachel did was, she took the
Gilman ones and combined them.
combine them into one application,
Softball
which
fields
we,
rehab
yeah,
project.
which I have copies for, and it has all the material in it, but that would be more to what to look at for, to vote on on the February
Well,
meeting.
if you have those, you should hand them out.
Yeah, I
'cause that
have,
puts
I
your
have
time-
them, right?
And then the second one, combined into Houghton Park Rehab Phase 2 Ball Field and Skate Park. And
Right.
again, I sent those out to you guys via email this morning. I sent them out as soon as I can. I couldn't update the agenda because I'm not allowed to within 48 hours. So that's why you're seeing the old ones. But Candace did talk about them at the last meeting. So it is similar material, but she's going to pass out to you the ones that we emailed you, the 2 combined ones.
Well, we weren't sure, and this is why on the one with the softball field, she wasn't sure, Rachel wasn't sure if the field mix could go in with the fencing project, or, because we were told that the fence, so she did this application where if we could do some of the mix, the dirt mix in it. But if it's not, then we don't really need this fencing project, because that would nix that number, you know what I mean, would nix that out. But it did put the, yeah, so that's what she had did when she did that other, application, for the, softball fields.
Okay, could I jump in here for a second?
Yeah,
Okay, so we have 2 potential projects, 2 locations for projects. One is
Right.
Houghton Park and Otter River, and one is
Gilman
continued
Way.
work at Gilman Way.
Right.
So let's start with the Houghton Park if we could.
okay.
So Houghton Park, it's my understanding that you would be seeking an additional park grant.
Yeah, so the Houghton Park one, and you just, everybody can take one. This is the Houghton Park one. This one is the one that the town would get money. We want to put in the application, for, the deadline will be in July. So this would be a match grant, and if it comes in the same way as it did the other match grant we got, then the project, we would have to be about $270,000 because we chose the smaller skate park, which is the pictures of the skate park are in the back of it, in the material. And we chose a smaller ball field. And the ball field, some of that work could be done in-house, so it would be just the fencing and the dugout that we're projecting on that, and some fill for it to go in on the ground.
Okay, can we just, let's just break it down a little bit for me, if you would,
Yeah.
please. So 270,000 is for the skate park, and that would be a park grant submission. Would that be a 71% match?
So it'd be $270,000 to do the skate park and the ball field.
Okay, and so the application for the
Yes.
grant would cover all of it.
Yeah, so the application would cover both the skate park and the ball field. And so at the end of the day, when if we were to go forward with this project and it went through, and we got passed and they gave us the grant, then the town would get up like about $189,000 back, and we would pay in 81,000 would be about our cost.
Okay, that's where I'm going.
Right.
Going
just-
to, so, because the last match, I believe, was like, they paid.
We're getting like was it $93,000
Yeah,
back?
but just, we
Yeah,
wanted
we
the
put it
percentage
forward.
terms,
Y-
just
yeah.
for clarification. It
Right.
was 71% the last time.
Yeah,
Is it the same?
it's supposed to be the same, so we
So
hope
the
it's the same.
270,000,
know.
so if we were to go forward with an article,
Right,
it would be one of those contingent articles,
right,
contingent upon receiving the grant award. So
correct.
so that $270,000 project would, if it was the same 29% cost as before, would actually be at a cost of like what you said, around 80,000, 78,300.
Right.
And, but of course, we have to approve the whole expenditure and then get reimbursed like we're waiting to do,
Right.
or will do for the other Houghton project. So I
Well,
just wanted to,
Yeah, and with the commissioners, we wanted to put this application in this year, because our third phase, it would be going into the heroes aspect of it. So we're praying that they'll have another, a round of it, the, following year, so we can use some money on that aspect, but we don't, so yeah, so in order to do the application, it's best, we feel like it's best to secure the money. So if this was to be voted on, if we were to vote as us, and then say it did go to the floor, it would be on the contingency if we were accepted as a grant, we got the grant. Otherwise, the project wouldn't move forward.
yeah, and that, that's how we did the last one. The language was
Right.
such. Now, if it was defeated at town meeting, for example, that doesn't preclude the award from being made, but they're not gonna award it either until the town has.
Until it has the secure money
Right,
for
so,
it,
but
yeah.
It doesn't
correct.
always have to, we don't have to secure it first. You know, cause it could go either.
But it
way.
helps
And
when
certainly
it
if
helps when you
approved.
fill out, when it helps Graceland when she fills out the application to say we have
Oh,
the
yeah,
town
absolutely.
supports this program, this project straight off the get. That's what they told us the last time around. Because we were new, let's just say we got a lot of help. And because it was our first ever doing this particular grant. So they were very good about helping us, and we did put the cart first before the horse on a few aspects, and they were very gracious about the situation.
Yeah, no, that's going good. We've had the, you know, we've got the plan, we've got the first phase underway. Any questions for Candace related to Houghton Park and the proposal?
The original plan for Houghton Park was for the veterans.
The original plan, as you recall, includes the Veterans Park up front, includes all the playground stuff, which is what she's getting the equipment for, the ball field and the skate park in the back corner. So it is in that design of that.
Yeah, I gave you a part of the design in your packet at the back of Houghton Park. I put it in there so you can see where the skate park is, where the ball field. And if you go and you can see the road and you can see where the Heroes is, and you can see the Hero Park small, that would be our third phase. And then, of course, the force would be all the fine tuning little things that we like, if we were to do bathrooms or anything like that. But we want to do, get the ball field, the skate park. We've already got the parking lot and the playground equipment done. Well, the playground equipment, the bid is coming out, and then either this week this week's done, but next week. And, that will be put in. And then it's gonna take time for the veterans to come, with the memorials and stuff, because we need a Vietnam memorial. And so we're already starting to talk to, Jim Brio and stuff.
And he's already
Work on
started
that.
fundraising for that. I know he's
Yeah.
had some significant contributions. I think when he was at a meeting, he said that's gonna cost like $67,000 for that monument. So
That's why we put that one in the back, because you would think
You're
that we
giving
put that
Mr. Brewer
first.
some time to.
Yeah,
get
give them
it
time
right.
to do it and then, coordinate with us. And their biggest thing is they want to make sure that something's not going to happen and we get new board members or things will change. But we have when this is a master plan that the town paid for. So we assume it's going to stay the way it was, in the design.
So the grant that they are seeking through that park initiative may or may not be funded next year. It's funded this year. There is an opportunity for them to pursue the funds. And all of these expenditures in this project, what we're hearing, which includes the skate park and the ball field activities, are eligible for that park grant,
Right.
which is heavily reimbursed from the state program if funded. So it's a pretty significant investment by the state in the community if we choose to go forward.
Correct.
I just have
And
still
so
have
it's money.
serious reservations about the skate park. As far as how well it's gonna be utilized.
Well, I just seen a commercial yesterday that, it's a main brand, ad commercial for care. And the kid said, I like my nanny so-and-so, I like my this so-and-so. And then the other kid turned around and said, yeah, the nanny takes me to the skate park,
Okay, so we're,
Well, I have a question. So
Yeah.
you had mentioned that there was a town plan for this?
Yeah,
The master plan, yeah.
Master plan.
Yeah,
Alright.
it's
Is
a
the
picture of it.
analysis done for, part of the master plan? I mean, just speaking from what I see, there aren't a lot of youth in our river. So we're gonna be spending a large amount of money for a playground that may be underutilized. So I'm just wondering, is there a needs analysis that's been done to warrant this type of, now the playground was there, it's been removed, we need to put it back.
We already got the grant for the playground. It's going in.
So that's good. I'm just saying, just playing devil's advocate here. We got security issues down there. There's a lot of vandalism and damage that happens down there. So we need some security written into this. And I guess the only thing, I'm looking at the population of Otter River. And I don't know, I see a lot of children on the street in Otter River.
There's like tons of neighborhoods over there. Like there's a lot of kids out there.
It's easy to say that, but we need facts. We're dealing with town money here. I mean, how many kids live in Otter River? How many will be taking advantage of the Otter Rivers? I mean, if it's 10, then you
Well, it's
divide.
not gonna
I
be
don't think
10.
that the town is really divided by villages. I live in town and I go to Baldwinville to take my kids to the playground. Like I'm gonna take
Yeah.
them to Houghton Park when it
Right,
gets done. I'm
exactly.
gonna take them to the elementary school.
Yeah,
I take them to
the parents
Hubbardston.
like to go from park
I
to
go to
park.
park to park,
Yeah.
so it's not as like subdivided as you
The
would
olden
imagine.
days, yeah.
We're going to all the parks. The parents are driving around. We're not walking to the parks anymore. We're driving our kids everywhere.
And
But to the point of
Yeah.
these gentlemen, it would be helpful to have some data indicating potential need and use. If there's any kind of survey or anything that you could do to kind of collect some information, that would.
Well, if there
certainly
was a
be-
master plan done, you would think that a needs analysis would be part of the master plan.
Well, the master plan was done by CPC. We hired,
We did hire the plan, there was but we did not have, we had design based upon the space and its projected use. And how did that skate park get in there?
the skate park, it was asked by the community members that approached members of the commission and said that the town had been promising a skate park for many, many years and they had moved it. And apparently Houghton Park, and we didn't know this at the time until after we were going to put a basketball court in it. And they came and pointed out some of the aspects that we thought were weird that were in the park at Houghton Park at the time that were being ripped out. They were actually made to be for the skate park and we didn't know that.
you were talking about the drainage and the topology affecting a basketball court there.
Right.
And the levelness of it.
Yeah.
And I think
Am
that
I
was
speaking out of
addressed.
turn?
Yeah,
Was
and then,
that
yeah, and
what it
then,
was?
yeah, and then it was moved up further, a little bit further because it's a smaller baseball
Correct.
field. Yeah.
But when they were talking about a skate park, were they talking about ice skate park or an upbeat?
They're talking about the actual skate park that used to be at East Templeton Elementary.
And East Templeton.
And then it was taken and brought over to Houghton Park apparently, and we didn't know this.
It was, let me stop.
Yeah.
But when I was working for the town, they were not using the one up behind Templeton Center. They very seldom used it. And they actually turned it into a basketball court out there, but they had the skate park in it too. But, you know,
It's hot right now. Skate parks are
And-
hot
and-
right now, so
it,
I don't know.
like you said, you know, I'm not saying anything against it, but the one that they have in Hubbardston, you very seldom see anybody at that skate park.
I
over there.
agree.
Very, very seldom.
So,
Robertson all
Yeah.
the time. And I often, they're not gonna be out there when it's 10.
That's just been my opinion, yeah.
Okay, could we, let's bring it back and let's see if we could maybe secure some actual data. Now, you have somebody that works with you. Could she reach out to Hubbardson and ask them what their usage is? What, if
Yeah.
they have any information on that that you can bring back to us?
well, you would also, like, so you have Gardner has a skate park.
Okay, so
Leominster
here's
has a
the
skate
two
park, Pittsburgh
quests.
has a skate park.
What is the usage in other adjoining communities? Anything that
Well,
you can
Fitch-
share? This is a request. Let me
Yeah.
finish. The other would be, what could we get from advocacy for our own residents for this, that we could collect some information from actual potential users, just to give us more information on.
Fire department.
Well,
to
Face Parks is
address this
doing a
concern.
recreational with the little ones and they're doing a program with it. So if it wasn't popular,
So
how
if
would
you
they be
could
funding?
capture
these
that
programs?
information to
I
bring
can.
back to this
Oh, I
board,
can.
that would be very helpful in the evaluation of the project, I
It
believe.
would certainly come up at
Right.
town meeting.
Oh,
If it
yeah.
went forward, there would be.
Yeah,
It's
so
your-
it'll certainly be to your advantage to answer these questions now, because if we do go forward with an article, you're gonna hear them again from the floor.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's not always the parents that are at the town meetings, but
Yeah, we need representation from the community of users, not the community of old guys on a committee.
yeah.
Sorry to say. As well, I mean, everybody's voice is
Well, yeah.
important.
I understand that. And like I said, they used to always put an ice skating park up in Templeton Center in front of the barn up there, but they don't do it anymore.
Like
They haven't done
temporary?
it about 10 years.
And they did one in
Yeah.
Houghton.
Yeah, they used to.
Yeah, well, yes, remember, yeah, so
Plastic out, fill it full of water.
Gotcha.
somebody put one in, yeah, that worked.
Okay, so, any other questions or comments on the Houghton Park,
No.
initiative? We're gonna be talking about it again next month, when we go forward with the voting. But, clearly there is some concern that a skate park may not be the best investment, so we just need to get more information to help make.
I'll
that
let the commissioners know.
And if you could just collect information through the Facebook page or through other communities, that would be very helpful.
Yeah,
Yep.
either from you or John, can I get what you want on the agenda for the next one? If you want them separated or together?
Well, it's part of the
Based off of
project
the-
together. It's part of the master plan. It was
Okay.
drawn up. There's a skate park sitting there.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I mean,
we'll-
basically, what is the article? Are you seeking a single article? Because that's what the park grant will be.
yeah, you have to go, like, yeah, we're gonna go for the skate park and the ball field together. If something changes,
Understood.
my meeting's the 27th. If something changes, I'll let you know on the 27th. What
Very
the
good.
commissioners want to do. If
Very
they
good.
feel like, that the skate park is not, I mean, then they'll probably, I can't speak out of turn for them. So I will tell them the situation. We will gather the data before the meeting in February to show you that there is people skating in skate parks right now. It's a hot thing. I didn't lead you long, we didn't lead you long on the pickleball and the tennis, but they told us nobody's playing tennis, but people are playing tennis too, so.
Yeah, no, and that's been
Yeah.
going good. My experience up there has
Yeah.
been that it's, nobody's really playing today, but
Yeah, no, it's closed and locked for the winter.
might be easier for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the Gilman Waite project. Is this Gilman Waite project also going to be a submittal for a grant? For a
No,
park
this
grant?
one we have, no, this one would not be submitted because we can't do like a multiple park grants. You can do one a year. And so we were continuing on the path of Houghton Park to be the recipient to try to get the master plan done.
Okay, so going to Gilman then, that you're combining multiple facets. It's essentially
Well, we didn't know if we could put the mix in, otherwise we won't be putting, we won't be, we won't be changing out any data on that. I didn't know if the dirt could be combined into that project.
yeah, if it's a project, if it's a project just to replace the mix, that's fairly small scale and, borderline, could perhaps
Right.
be considered maintenance. But if it's truly a renovation to the
Yeah, it's a rehab.
ball field that also includes fencing replacement, then, it's more of a, in my mind, a concerted project. So could you summarize us what, so we're
So
looking
we
to
replace the fence in field 1, field 3, extend the wing up on field 2 because it's too low. Put a dugout in field 1, field 3, a set of dugouts on both of those, and then replacement of the mix to help with the drainage in the fields.
Okay, and there had been discussion regarding the height of the fence at the pickleball being too high or too low. Is that still an issue?
Oh, it was over near the basketball court, and I don't know. I guess that they say that Adam says that it says that it'll be fine to stay the way it is. So that's what they
Okay,
say.
because my only suggestion would have been if that's still a need, that would be appropriate.
That's put in there.
to
Yeah.
Add in there
Yeah.
for the incremental costs, and so do we have a bottom line estimate of what that project would be as stated, including the mix, the fence and the dugouts?
Yeah, it'll be about 100 and 120, 120 to 20 with it. Somewhere in that ballpark, I believe, if I did my math right.
Yeah.
So once again, so when we do come forward to discuss this for the formal vote, we'll want the snippets, of
Right.
the article and the bottom line dollar.
Okay, yeah, we can iron that out on the 27th to make sure we have the right.
This is what you showed us when we were on that
Yeah,
tour. right?
Yeah, and I showed you the fencing and how it was buckling and the town had wanted to replace it years ago and went for many quotes, and that's why we have problems trying to get quotes on it because these fencing companies don't want to come back forth when they're not getting, that's nothing to bid on. There's nothing to do.
Do you have copies of the application for the members of that one?
Oh, yeah, that one, yeah, I do.
And do
don't-
you have any questions
haven't
or
even
comments
read it.
that you'd like to add
don't have it.
about any of this
Rachel did.
discussion or the project that we've been discussing?
Reason why I came was I wanted to talk with you when the meeting is adjourned, and just you, so there's no open meeting law.
Okay, so you're not here. I didn't know if perhaps you had an interest in.
This is
discussing
the one that I think
Yeah.
Rachel put
Yeah,
together. I
no,
haven't
absolutely,
even,
I could
I
say it is.
I've kind of looked at it. but
Okay, so
a lot of the stuff in it.
That's funny.
do we have any discussion from any other groups or advocates about other potential projects for this year?
No.
So we've got one more month to go. Any other questions or comments for Candace's Gilman Waite projects or the Parks and Rec project? We'll have more homework to review. Are you good then, Candace, with your description?
Yeah, and I didn't, where we do the,
We're gonna come back
Okay,
to that
okay.
now.
I just want to make sure I don't miss that one.
Okay, so with that being said, I'm gonna move on from the potential projects. Unless anybody else has anything. Mike,
Only what I brought up at the previous meeting about, we'll probably be looking at phase 2 of the emergency management buildings. We have.
That's what we want to put up there.
25.
at the annual or in the,
Well, because we're
We
only
haven't
getting
gotten the
going on
data.
phase 1 now, I'm starting moving forward, and I guess the contract's gone out to an engineering company to start
get
the
the bids
work.
back?
Yes, so, well, when he comes back, or when that company comes back with the work, then we'll have a dollar figure to try to get the work done. So that would be completion of what they called phase 1. Phase 2 is a bigger chunk of the building. But we would want to put in for the engineering, money during 25, 26. So hopefully we'll have that in by the fall.
if we can get it into the annual next year for the engineering funds. But that's not done yet. I'll get it done.
Okay, so we're essentially not looking at anything at this annual for team up
No.
because we won't have the time, but
Right.
it could be something for the special,
Fall, yeah.
yeah. Okay, very good. Any other potential projects anybody would like to bring up or discuss?
The only other note I'd like to make is I want to keep that on the agenda. Because it's money that was approved at town meeting for expenditure. It wasn't moving forward and it took some real commotion to get it moving forward. And I'd like to keep it on our agenda. I was looking at the list of projects here and I don't see it listed on there.
What? I thought it was voted on. Shoot.
Yeah, right here.
Oh, very bottom.
Yeah.
line. Okay.
Yeah, and so we could, if you would like us to, under current projects, listed as an item
Yep.
as opposed to.
I just
so
want to keep
just
it
as a
up front so
reminder.
everybody doesn't forget about it. That's all.
And it doesn't sound like you're gonna let us forget about
I will not.
it. Very good. Okay, thank you so much.
We're going to current projects.
We shall now move on to current projects. Candace has something to share with us about the Gilman Waite signs.
I don't see the, I thought that it was a, quote. Do we have a quote? I thought we submitted a quote with that.
I got these two.
Yeah, oh, she must have forgot it. It was on the original one when I sent it to you, and
Okay.
you guys. I don't have it with me. I don't
My
remember the,
apologies, Candace. If that is true, then.
yeah, and I don't remember
I
the
would-
amount. And I don't remember the amount.
Okay, so regardless of that, I mean, there is money remaining in that fund, and we do need to put signage up there indicating that the improvements were done through Community Preservation Act funds. And that's what this larger sign that indicates the dates and things like that. Now, this other one is just is an informational sign, which is similar, you know, to share with the community about the ball, about the field. Now, who made this quote, the oldest and one of the most respected citizens of Templeton?
It's from his obituary.
Yeah, because, you know, maybe he was, but he's, you know,
There's-
that's kind of,
It was on they gave me some stuff. I can't remember what it was. I got it from TCTV, and it was part of the obituary. It was the line from the obituary. We thought.
people read that and they're gonna say, wow, he's one of the oldest and most respected, well, and then they'll say 1925, what the hell does that mean? I mean, it's, to me, this is my own.
It was back then. Back then, it was from his obituary. So back then, in that date, that's who he was. He was the oldest and one of the most respectful. I mean, they did it enough to put it in his obituary.
So in my mind,
It was pretty much
it
the
would
only.
say at his passing called, or, you know, referred to as, or in, you know, this is just my own personal opinion. I would rather see Gilman Way, you know, businessman, industrialist, blah, 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 donated, you know, this what's down here nice about his son and his wife.
Right.
But just to say he's one of the oldest and most respected citizens of Templeton doesn't really tell me who he was. Whereas if it said Gilman Way, you know, owner of the Gilman Way factory, blah, blah, blah. I mean,
Well, if you want to add that, you want to write that and send it to me, that'd be great.
well, maybe I would refer back to the Historic Commission for some guidance on that. If
On how to write it, because I had no clue what
Yeah.
I was doing.
picayune in here, but
Well, it does seem like it's editorializing a little bit there, but. This is John Reader. In memory of, I would just remove that one line. Because the facts are down here, right?
yeah,
Facts are there, his birth date and his death date are there. If you just took that one line out of there, you'd be good. Why even have it?
No, I didn't know. I just thought it was interesting.
it is interesting, but I would agree with Mike, but what does anybody else have a dog in this one?
Should it be to the town of Templeton, Mass on October 28th, 19? Is that what that date is? That's when they deeded it?
The October 28th,
Is
1930.
it October 20?
Yeah, that's how,
that's the
this
date it
is
was
taken, like how it was it was written on the thing.
On what, DCTV?
No, the deed.
Okay,
This came, yeah, this wordage, it was, I added his son, cause who he was, because I added
Yep.
that part, but the John Waite, blah, blah, blah. All of that came from the actual, the way the deed was written.
I guess all I was saying, like, you could
I
just
didn't
put
know.
the date at the beginning and have it say, on October 28th, 1930, his son, John, blah, 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 deeded. Or if you're keeping it at the end, memory of Gilman Waite to the town of Templeton, Mass. On October 28th, 1930, not have a period after MA.
If you want to write that and send it to
You
me,
know
that'd be
what
great.
Well, I don't have,
did you send this in a Word doc? Or is it
I didn't
PDF?
I
No, I
got, I
said it-
got
I
it from
said
her
Word,
assistant.
yeah.
and Printed it for y'all.
It added as a
So
Word
it's-
doc or a PDF?
I think we
I
did,
believe it was a PDF from her.
Yeah.
But her admin should have it in a Word doc and should be able to. upload
Yeah,
it.
if you could just, and if you want me to
I'm
reach
the one
out
who
to her,
did
I
it,
will.
so.
Strike strike that in my, unless,
No, I.
strike the line, just
Yeah.
say this, and then put on, or get rid of the period and put on October 28th,
If you walk
1930.
outside the back door out here, there's a plaque to, Ritter, right? Out
Yeah.
there. It doesn't have that type of thing under his name. It has the history of what was done. So that's the only, I would just
Yeah.
straight that editorialize.
Yeah, are you good with that? Striking the, and then you're
Striking
gonna,
that and then do what on,
and then say, in memory of Gilman Waite to the town of Templeton, get rid of the period and say on October 28th, 1930, then put a period. Or I think there's a period there, but I do it.
somebody do that for me,
Send it down.
send it down, that'd be good. Perfect.
And then as far as the cost goes,
I remember.
you know, if it's
I'll
within,
read the
if
watch.
it's at a reasonable cost and it's, the budget still has, $1,000 or something like that.
What are we on tennis courts? It's got 4,488 left.
I would just have your committee, vote on it at your next meeting, to go forward, because unless anybody else has.
How does that work? I don't know. We never bought anything or did anything like this.
So all you do is at your meeting, say, is this the quote that you want to proceed with? And they make a motion to approve the quote.
Right,
And then you go forward with it. And when it turns into an invoice, you submit it to me and it goes off to get paid.
so we order it and have it made and everything, okay. All right, I'll talk to Rachel.
Yep.
Okay,
Bob could help you probably. Can you-
Yeah, Bob does it all the time for all the other signs that you've seen going around town, Baptist Common Cemetery, et cetera, et cetera. So Bob and I can help you.
well, we have the quote from the company,
you
they had
just
did
said-
it already, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
Okay,
within your budget, so as long as it's within your budget, you're fine.
okay.
all right, is there any other updates on current projects? We already heard about the fencing at the Baptist Common, but is there anything else we need to share?
You just wanted to update Mike that since he wasn't at the last meeting, but I know that Andrew Kanata was asked to quote the emergency management
Oh, yeah.
engineering services
Yeah,
and
I've heard that.
okay,
I've been in contact with Rich.
Very
and
good.
He was, Adams.
very
Yeah,
good.
so that's moving forward and,
And we did find 2 contractors that are willing to bid on the invasive
Oh,
management.
good.
Oh,
at
really?
Dwelly.
Oh, good.
She got one quote from a company that did not do work that they were in favor of, so she wanted to get 2 other quotes.
great, well, that's good.
That's great.
Good news.
And so moving forward.
All right, any other current project reports? Anybody like to bring anything up?
Is Grange Hall elevator completely done?
It's essentially done.
Well, they have the drapes still open and they have the lift still open.
But the lift is installed, but yeah, and we just got an invoice on some final details, so it's 90 something
So we're
percent.
gonna be able to close that. soon.
Yeah.
And they're using the lift.
Yeah, because they had to do some trim, things like that, and as you remember about the drape, they had to do the side drape thing.
And they already have a sign. Their sign is encompassing of all the projects that's inside.
Yeah, Mike and I saw their sign, it's great. Okay, any other questions, comments by the members?
Just one,
Yeah.
we're going to be reconsidering some of these, applications next meeting, so I would suggest that people hold on to theirs, so we can save a few trees.
Please,
Good thinking.
your meeting packet, when I mailed it to PDF, it was 100 pages. I'm like, I can't print this out 8 times. That's,
So we should save.
so
our-
please, yeah, save your applications.
Yeah.
Please, I color coded them for you, so you should be able to make sure you got one of each color, guys.
Tonight, yeah.
Very good.
Okay, our next meeting is scheduled for February 13th, 2025 at 7 PM as a regular meeting. That will be the meeting, what we will vote the articles. I will have, and Jessica and I will have spoken to the assessors to come up with the figures for what our estimates would be. So that article will, of course, be included amongst those that we discuss next month.
Yep.
Okay,
I'll
Excellent.
make a motion, we. adjourn.
One question before, so we should take these 2 replacement packages, negate the ones that were.
I would refer your question to Candace.
Yes,
Yeah.
Throwing these away and keep.
yes, those, yeah, correct.
So
And
the
plus
full,
it also
the
gives you all
4 Parks and
pictures.
Rec applications has turned into 2 based off of location.
Yes. We shrunk them down for you.
That's great.
Thank
Does that make sense?
okay, we have a motion to adjourn.
I said, second it.
All those in favor,